Hello, good woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so excited, delighted, privileged, honored. The list goes on of how I feel about us sitting down and having this conversation today. So, how are you, Patricia?
I'm great, Deirdre. I'm delighted to be here to share this time with you. So thank you very much for inviting me.
I couldn't wait to get connecting with you. But for those of you, for those who are watching this and don't know who you are, can you introduce who is Patricia O'Rourke?
Well, if you had asked me that question, probably this time last year, maybe a bit longer, I would have said, I'm not really sure. But as of just before Christmas, I am now a published author, and I had my official launch of my book entitled "Borrow My Words Until You Find Your Own" in Hilliard House at the end of January, and I can now say I am a published author.
I absolutely love it, and I was there, and it's Patricia lives just up the road from me, and from here in Newcastle in County Down, and this is going out across the world, woman. So you'll have to get used to telling people exactly where you are. So Patricia lives just up the road in Castlewellan in County Down, and Hilliard House is a hotel there, and the place was jam packed. I couldn't get in. We were queuing up to get photographs taken with this woman. And my book is not actually here because my book is up on my at my bedside. The book that my signed copy from Patricia is so you've got it right there. You see, borrow my words. So how beautiful is that? Well, that's where we are today. That's where we are today. But it wasn't always like that, Patricia. We have known each other for quite a while. In what are your first memories of me, for example?
My first memory, I can remember the first time I rang you. I was sitting in a car park in Newcastle, looking out over the shore, and I lifted the phone and I said to you, I need to come and have a yarn with you because I just wasn't sure what was going on, and I just needed somebody to talk to, and that was where it started.
And do you know how long ago that was, Patricia? I mean, I 10 years.
I'm thinking 2017. I did a wee quick stroll through some of
Yeah,
the bits and pieces last night. So it's probably wearing on to the guts of 10 years.
yeah. So that's so we're about right. That's what I figured. And then so we had the yarn, and then you came here,
Yeah.
and there's the magic chair behind. You sat in the chair here, and we got down to the work. I would say that's how I describe it. How would you describe it from your side, Patricia?
Well, from my side, it was a case of having somebody to talk to that was removed from everything and anything. I was working from home at that point before it became fashionable, and I had come from an office environment where there was lots of people around, and you had a crack, you nipped into town and all the rest, and went for lunch and different things. And then I was working from home, which on one side was brilliant. Family and everything was great, but in terms of I think I kind of lost the ability to a bit of a sense of myself, because then you kind of thought you didn't really have anything to say because you weren't out in the work environment at that point. So it just got to the point where I just needed a wee bit of advice, really, and a wee bit of
Mhm.
guidance.
Mhm, 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 mhm. And we did that, and it sounds like it's kind of like a loss of identity, and this is very common, when we do our work, when you work, I've had this myself. When you are what you do, then when you don't, you aren't. So in other words, your sense of your own value comes from what you do, and that could be anything from an office work to a mother to a wife to fill in the blank. When you identify your value with what you do, then when you don't do it, you aren't valuable. And I remember our sessions here, and I have a sense of just there was just like a releasing, just it wasn't immediately obvious what the issue was, but then we were able to get down to it and release it. And then what what happened after that? How did that impact your day-to-day living, Patricia, when you did and got the advice, and how did that impact your daily living?
Well, initially, there was that sense of relief. There was that sense of as they say here, a trouble shared is trouble halved.
Yes.
And then with making the connections, then you did the stress solution system, which I worked through, and then that springboarded into the freedom community, which then connected me with a lot of other women, which invariably a lot of these things tend to be. And sure, the crack was great on a Thursday night, and I met lots of lovely women who I'm still in contact with. And in fact, my book is in the States with one of our lovely ladies, and she's working her way through it. So yes, I am international, and there's another book in Brisbane as well. It went a advanced copy went to Brisbane with my other friend. So yeah, it's been very good from that point of view. Yeah.
So that is incredible. And for those of you who don't know, what was your stress solution system experience like? That's my online program, my signature program. What was it like for you? How did that support you?
Well, it gave me tools to set up the morning routine, which is really good for me.
Yeah,
The gratitude and the meditation. So those are
yeah,
the things that I would have started doing
yeah.
through that, and I continue to do that today, and through different bits and pieces. That the benefits of those two simple things have been reinforced many times.
And then you moved into the freedom community, and which, for those who don't know, the freedom community is an online community. We meet up every once a week for an hour, and we go live, and then there are you can watch it on playback. And what was that like for you? Like you say, the crack, um, the connection, the people, and what else would that be about, do you think, in your mind? What did you learn from it?
Well, you learned that you weren't on your own, and the thoughts that you were thinking weren't just yours. Other
Mm.
people were experiencing the same kind of situations, not maybe necessarily 100% the same, but when you get right down to it, none of us are that dissimilar. And the idea that you had the breakout rooms, which was excellent, which meant people were able to chat in a very free way, because that there was no record of that. That wasn't,
Yes.
that was very much we were in there, and you could read your chest, as we talk about here. And that was really good. So for me, that was a big plus.
Absolutely, I love it. And then we moved on then to the retreat, and I decided, toyed with this idea. What if I did a retreat? How would people enjoy it? And so we did that. We did the VIP Freedom Retreat, which was 10 women. It ended up being all women, but it's not specifically for women, but 10 women, 4 days, one theme: freedom. So, where were you at on your emotional journey when you came to the freedom retreat, Patricia?
I went to the retreat thinking I had it all figured out pretty much. I've done this. I'm yeah, whatever. I'm just meeting up with the girls in the freedom community. There were
Yeah.
a number of us who had already made connections through that, and there was also new ladies who we hadn't met, and
Yep.
the, we met as strangers and left as friends, so which was
Beautiful.
lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent most of the weekend bawling and crying. Really? That's what I did. I had thought, yeah, this will be a walk in the park, but I just needed to take that time out for me, which I did. We had great crack. The food was beautiful. The venue is lovely, and really, really enjoyed it. But there was a lot of, I suppose, just taking the time for me, letting go, and the end result for me was tears.
Yeah. So it was, it was like the perfect storm because you had been doing the work and you had been committed to it. And, the key is consistency, which is part of that is your daily practices, which you had got in place. And then you were actually just ripe for the breakthrough, as I say, the breakdown is the breakthrough. So, but I remember, it wasn't kind of what I expected on one level, but on another level, I was so delighted to see it because, I associate you with the smiley face and the bubbly, and here were these tears and more tears and more tears. And when I saw it, I thought, oh, that is so good. She is releasing and finally getting to the point where she's actually free to release. And it's almost like a rebirth kind of thing. It's letting go of the old and making space, making room for the new to come in, which is not actually new. In my book, it's not actually new. It's just what's been hidden, what's buried beneath there. And oh my Lord, did you ever bloom, woman? Did you ever bloom? So tell me a wee bit more about your poem, the one that you've chosen to read to us today. Can you put it into context for us before you read it?
Well, the poem, which is entitled Finding Me, really crystallizes what happened at the retreat, what I saw from lots of other women who were there. I think we all had been kind of hiding from something or whatever, or just, just getting on with life. And that gave us an opportunity to slow down and reflect and just take stock. And the poem, which I wrote after I came home, for me crystallizes what the thing was about. And when I shared it with the other ladies, they said, yeah, that was for them, it summed it up as well. So that was great. And then I took the leap to approach a local publication, and they published it on the back of an article that they had done on you.
That's
So
right. That's
the
right.
response from that was excellent, and I kind of thought, okay, well, if there's something there, so then that gave me a bit of a springboard then to look at what else I had written. And I didn't actually pull it all together till later on that year. And my book has been the result of it. So yeah, it's been great. I've enjoyed the crack, and as I say, last Saturday was just fantastic, and I am so grateful to all the people, yourself included, who turned up and had a wee glass of prosecco, a wee bit of crack, and the buzz in the room was brilliant. Loved it.
And a beautiful reading of the poem, and which we'll do just in a minute. But before, I've a couple of questions. Who was the person who would never have published a book before, and how did you get to that place where you now are a published author?
Well, my life has changed. I'm now retired. So
Mm-hmm.
that's been a big shift in that I am very grateful for the fact that I have the time now. I'm
Okay.
not living by someone else's clock. I can set my own agenda, and there is something very, very freeing about that. So I now have the time and the space, and based on the response that I had from the poem, I kind of thought, well, it's not. I don't want to use bad words on this recording, but it's okay. There's something there. So I thought, yeah, let's hit it a lash and see where it goes.
So I love that. So I love your attitude. So the freedom that you have now in that you can just go give it a go, and
Yeah.
look what happened because you gave it a go. And I'm so delighted for you. So what would you say to someone else watching this who may be just like you were, what would your advice be to them?
Um, my advice would be take time out for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Invest in yourself.
Yeah.
You may not know exactly why you're doing it or what it's all about to begin with. And you don't really need to know, but just trust your instincts, be brave, and you might surprise yourself because I did.
Yeah. So that is so beautiful and so valuable. You know, that if there's someone who's watching this and they think, well, I can't take the time out, I have too many other commitments. What I really believe underneath a lot of that is that I'm actually not worthy. You know, I'm not worth it. It's not worth me spending my time on me because I have to take care of all these other projects. I have to take care of husbands, children, businesses, all kinds of things. But the truth about it is that in my experience with all the people that I have worked with, that isn't the time isn't the first thing. The time's the great excuse. The time is the legitimate excuse. I can't do it because I have all these other things to do. But the truth about it is, it's where your investment is. And if you can understand this, that when you actually invest the time in you and finding out who you are, the compound effect of that on your business, your family, your partner, your children, your community, because you have really impacted the community now, Patricia. I mean, the place was jam packed last week. Like, that is amazing. So what I see that as, that you are, living what is called your dharma, your calling, your purpose, who you really are. And when you live from there, then there's joy, there's connection, there's laughter, there's crack, what we call in Ireland crack, which is just good connection with each other and having fun. It's a Gaelic word that translated is literally fun, lightness of heart and connection with other people. And all of this is available to all of us if we but know it. And when you do know it, you feel like how would you describe when you've opened up into that now, Patricia, that part of your life? What does it feel like? What does it actually feel like to be you on a day-to-day basis now?
Well, I'm a lot more relaxed,
Yeah.
I have to say. But the thing that I would say is don't make it complicated. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be complicated. I mean, you can take 5 minutes out in the morning,
Yes.
write down two or three things that you're grateful for and just sit there for a minute or two. You don't have to sit with your legs crossed like, whoever you want to do,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and make it all go, oh, it's all very zen and it's, and you're like, yeah, okay, catch yourself on. Just take 5 minutes out. And even if you lock yourself in the loo in the mornings and just say, this is my time, and you go out with a bit of a better attitude, and that'll ripple out through your day. I mean, that was the poem that I started with at the event, was a new day. Be the ripple that the world needs today. And you'd be surprised, so you do, as to what impact. You mightn't even know the impact that you're having, but if you can have a kind word to somebody and a smile, say hello to a stranger, and just have a laugh. And yes, there are things in this world that you might think, hey, come on here, well, things are pretty dark, but you can only affect you and what you're bringing to the party. And if you can have a positive effect on somebody, you don't know where that's going to land.
I absolutely love it. And we don't even know what impact your work is now going to have on so many people. So now I would love if you would read. I know you've chosen one of the poems, and would you do us all a big favor and read one for us?
Now, the poem that I have chosen to read is the one that from the retreat.
Mhm.
And as I say, this is the book, and I'm really delighted the way it's turned out, and the cover pops, and yeah, I just love it. but then I would, because it's my book.
Beautiful.
This poem is entitled Finding Me. The shell cracked, then it broke open, and everything came tumbling out. Our fears, our worries, our insecurities, our beliefs, things we had held on to for years, things we weren't consciously aware of until the cracks began to appear and we let the light in. We saw the frightened little girl, the one who had been so quiet for so many years. We finally stopped to listen. The story that had been running in the background for so long. We paid attention to what she said. We really listened. We acknowledged the pain, then we let it go. We released and let it all go. We were safe in each other's arms. We are an incredible team now, strengthened by the bond that only we share, the story that only we know. We can move on from here together. We see a brighter future. Yes, there will be challenges, but we have each other. Together we can face anything in the knowledge that we are no longer alone. We will always have each other. We are free now to live life on our own terms.
Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. That it almost explains a lot about what my work is about, which is actually integrating this integration of the part of us that's been frightened, scared, lost, confused for a million different reasons. People are well intentioned and still things happen, or for very deep, frightening reasons as well. And then we do the work, and then there is the coming together and the integration, and that's what that poem means to me. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much for doing that. And what's the future, Patricia? What's next? What?
Well, the world's my oyster, so I'm just enjoying the crack. I'm
Yep.
selling, obviously, the book's available if anybody wants it. They can
Where would
contact
they
me.
get it? Where? How do they get your book, Patricia?
If they contact me and contact me directly on my email, which is PO'Rourke676 at gmail.com. It is available on Balboa Press, who were my publisher, and Amazon. But as a first-time author, it would be lovely to purchase from me. It can be you can get a signed copy, and if anybody wants a particular personal dedication, let me know, and I can post that to the UK and to Ireland and Europe. We can do various postage packages so people can.
And America and anywhere.
Well, yes, absolutely. I am international, so
Right.
yes, absolutely. But listen, I am really, really enjoying the crack, and everybody has been really lovely. And if somebody can get something by reading a word, a line, a poem, or whatever, that makes them think differently and shifts things in their life, that's a win. For me, that is a win, and I'm just enjoying myself.
So I mean, I don't think we've talked about this, but I can't remember if we have or not. But it is an open invitation now. I wonder if you would consider. We are running a retreat in a few weeks' time. Would you come and do a little bit of reading for the people who are going to be there?
Absolutely. We can coordinate our diaries and see what works.
I love it. So this time last year, you were there in a different capacity, and now this is what the impact of doing the work. I absolutely know this in my heart that when you really do release and let go of what the story is that you are carrying about yourself, then these things can happen. So I look forward to that we will connect and share some more wisdom and some more there's poetry is like music, it touches our soul. And that's what you've done, Patricia. And imagine what that would be like at our retreat. I love it. I love it. And I love you, Patricia. You know that. And
I would just say it's poetry. It's not poetry in the academic sense. It's not conventional poetry. My language is very, very simple and very, very straightforward. You don't need to be in
Yeah.
academia to understand. It's very,
Yeah.
very simple and very, very straightforward. So in some ways, to put it in a poetry sense, might be a disservice to the book. But certainly it's very simple. That's my ethos. Keep it simple. Don't make it too complicated and just get on with it.
Good woman. I love it. As I said before, I love it and I love you. And I am very grateful that you took the time out today to talk to us. We will be posting this out and onward and upward, and see you at the Freedom Retreat.